Chef Buck here, and today we're going to cook up, what am I doing, selling cars? Creamed spinach. That's more exciting than a car. Spinach is the Lamborghini of green vegetables. Just like a Lamborghini, you open a spinach like that.
They don't have the butterfly doors.
Lamborghinis don't have the butterfly. I don't know what a butterfly door is.
Okay.
I drive a Yaris. The key to creamed spinach is getting all of the water out of the spinach. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of water in a skillet. That's counterintuitive. We're going to heat up some water in a skillet on high heat. Because what we want to do first is we want to cook our spinach down. You want to wilt your spinach down and drain it. And I'm using fresh spinach because I like to have fresh spinach around. We're going to use like a bag and a half. But you can just use one bag. You can use 2 bags. You can make as much as you want. It's a super adjustable recipe. You can use frozen spinach, which is super easy to do. You know, just make sure and have it thawed out ahead of time, and then you'll do exactly the same thing that we're going to do here, but with frozen spinach. You'll just heat it through and then set it aside to drain the water out. So our water's heating up here. Our skillet's all heated up. So let me go ahead and throw some spinach in here. We'll go ahead and start wilting this down. That's like half a bag.
How much is in a bag?
It's like half a pound of spinach. A little bit more, but spinach, you can't pay attention to how much spinach it is. Because no matter how much it is, you can fill a Volkswagen Beetle full of spinach. And by the time you cook it down, it's going to fit in the little jewelry box that you're going to tell your wife one day you'll give her.
What?
Now while my spinach is cooking down here, let me talk about onions for a minute. I'm going to use a whole onion for this recipe. Now this isn't a large onion. You know, this is just kind of a smallish to medium-sized onion. But I use the whole onion. Because why not? What am I going to do? Put half an onion back in the fridge? You don't need a lot of onion for this dish. Follow your heart. But why not do a whole onion?
Nutrients!
You know, I've always got onions. Come over here, camera girl. Look at this here. This is our onions right now. I got 4 onions in here, 3 onions over here. What do I got here? Another 9 or 10 onions. My mother is astounded by the amount of onions that we always have. But we use an onion for everything. I made an omelet this morning. It had an onion in it. We had some chana masala with our omelet this morning. Leftover chana masala that I made last night. It had an onion in it. I'm going to make creamed spinach here and I'm going to put an onion in it. Just have a bunch of onions, and then everything you make, even if it's a chocolate cake, put an onion in it.
Let's talk about onion. Can you say that?
Oh, am I saying it wrong?
Onion.
Sounded like I might be. Alrighty, see my spinach is starting to wilt away here, so I'm going to throw the rest of this bag in here. Boom, boom, boom. And creamed spinach is so easy to make. And there's something just fancy pants about it. I guess because I associate it with steak dinners, and I don't know, growing up as a kid, creamed spinach always seemed very fancy to me. Although I hated it. I mean, it was spinach, you know, so as a kid I really didn't care for it. You know, instead of spinach you can just use kale. But then it's not going to get as creamy. Because kale is a heartier, tougher, you know, it's more of a street fighter type vegetable. So you're not going to be able to cook your kale down as much. You could do half spinach, half kale. You know, what I'm saying is if you got some kale in the fridge, you can throw that in here too. Alright, so we've had this wilting for about 3 minutes. We'll just get a little bit softer before we take it out of here. Let some of this water evaporate and cook off. Okay, while the spinach is wilting, let me talk about something else here. Boom. It's sausage. It's a piece of meat. This could be any kind of meat. You know, this could be half a pork chop. This could be a couple pieces of bacon. Could be a little bit of chicken left over. Could be anything. But I like to put a little bit of meat in my creamed spinach. And even if I just had this much, you know, that would be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and use up this whole piece of sausage. I'm going to dice it up nicely. Because just that little bit of meatiness, it just really elevates the creamed spinach. As they say in the cooking world, it elevates. And this is super duper optional. You know, if you don't have any bit of leftover meat in the fridge, you don't have to do that. But man, it is so good. Alright, it looks like a lot of the moisture is out of my spinach, so I'm going to go ahead and get it over here. And I'm just going to put it in a colander so I can get all the water out of here. So we'll just go ahead and let our spinach sit here in this colander and drain a little bit. Get our skillet back on the stove. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to put a wee little bit of oil in here because we're going to saute up our onions. Now if you didn't have any meat to put in here, you could add a little bacon fat. If you have any bacon grease left over, or sausage grease, that's a nice little flavor. Again, it's optional, any kind of oil or grease you want. And boom, throw my onion in here. Love that onion smell. I'm going to throw my meat in here. Get that meaty flavor going. A little bit of salt and pepper, as much as you like. And I'm not going to put any other seasoning in here since I got the sausage, a little bit of bacon fat. That's a great flavor. And we just want our onions to lighten up a little bit.
Lighten up!
Boom, now I got a little bit of butter here. Just a couple tablespoons because we're making creamed spinach. So we want it to be nice and creamy. Optional ingredient, boom, garlic. I say optional, but garlic and onions go in everything. And you can use 1 clove or 2 cloves. I think I got 4 cloves here. So that's just me. You gotta follow your heart. Super duper adjustable recipe. We definitely don't want to overcook our garlic. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some cream cheese in here. This has already been softened a little bit. It is about 1/3 of a bar of cream cheese. And this is gonna make our creamed spinach so creamy. And you don't have to use cream cheese. If you wanted to, you could just use some shredded Parmesan or some shredded Asiago and just add that later with the milk. But since we're using cream cheese, it melts very easily, so I'm going to put it in now. And cream cheese is inexpensive, you know, relative to a lot of other cheeses. Come over here, camera girl. Let's see how our spinach is doing. Cooled down quite a little bit. Enough so that I can handle it, but you can see that water coming out of there. But you want to get as much of the water out of here as you can, because the water is going to take away from the creaminess. So the wetter your spinach is, the thinner your creamed spinach will be. Alright, it's looking super duper. Now we'll just add our spinach into the mix here. I'm going to throw in some half and half. And you want to add as much half and half as you like. You know, you want enough to make it creamy, but we're just going to mix it around. I'm going to go ahead and lower my temperature a little bit more. I think I want to add a little bit more in here, because this is really going to make the dish super creamy. And then that cream cheese is going to make it nice and thick. So now we just want to cook it kind of on a medium low until it gets to the consistency that we like it. Smells delicioso. And I turned it down a little bit more because we don't want it to bubble, we don't want it to boil, so we want to stay ahead of it. Just let it cook off a wee little bit, get it all stirred up. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off. You can go ahead and give it a little taste test to check for the seasoning, and I'll add some more salt and pepper if you like. But that's all there is to it. Look how creamy dreamy that looks. You know, you can make this the day before and it'll have so much flavor the next day. Or we could serve it right now. Look how lovely that creamed spinach is. Gonna serve it up tonight with a little bit of rice, a little bit of chicken livers. What doesn't creamed spinach go with? M&Ms? I bet you'd go with M&Ms.
What?
You eat the creamed spinach first, and then you follow it with the M&Ms. That's how I would eat it. So creamy. This is so decadent.
Oh!
God, Zuki, that's good. If little Johnny comes home and he's got no C's on his report card, you know, just A's and B's, you know, he deserves some creamed spinach. If he's got a C, or if he's got a D, then it's just chicken livers. No creamed spinach. If you want to give this creamed spinach recipe a try, I have it written down below and you can take a look at it. There's a link down there. You can go to myfoodchannel.com, print out this creamed spinach recipe, print out all our recipes, you know, thumbs it up, say something nice. Why not? It's good for your karma. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the future.